Most people think millionaires are created by big ideas, tech startups, explosive growth, perfect timing. But almost half of real millionaires didn't build their wealth that way at all. They did something far less exciting. They owned boring businesses. And that word boring is exactly why most people never see the pattern. Because while everyone else is chasing the next big thing, these businesses quietly collect cash. Month after month, without hype, without virality, without drama. That's why income growth for most people feels stuck. They are chasing excitement in a system that rewards repetition. By the end of this video, you'll understand the 6 boring business models that keep producing millionaires, why their success rate is shockingly high, and the psychological filters that separate people who quietly get rich from those who stay busy forever. And you'll see why boring is not an insult. It's the entire point. Let me tell you about Harry, not because he's special, but because he isn't. At 32, Harry was an operations coordinator at a logistics company. After tax, he earned about $3,400 a month. His net worth was almost nothing, a paid-off hatchback, less than $1,000 in savings. He had tried the exciting routes, a dropshipping store that barely made money, a crypto phase that destroyed his capital, a clothing brand that left unsold hoodies stacked in his hallway. Every attempt followed the same pattern: big hype, complicated systems, unclear timelines, and no predictable money landing in his account every month. One night, riding a late bus home, Harry stumbled across a summary of The Millionaire Next Door. One idea stopped him cold. Most real millionaires are not famous. They are not influencers. They are self-employed owners of dull, ordinary businesses, repair companies, local services, small operations people use again and again. At first, the idea felt almost insulting. Harry had been trying to be clever, better branding, smarter niches, more exciting angles. This book was saying the opposite: be boring, own a necessary service, and let time do the work. Instead of treating it like advice, Harry treated it like an experiment. Over the next year, he studied real businesses, not online fantasies, actual local operations with years of history. And something strange kept appearing. The same business types showed up again and again in millionaire stories. Not glamorous, not innovative, just relentless. 6 categories stood out, and this is where the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. The first boring business was laundromats. Harry almost dismissed them immediately. Who even uses laundromats anymore? But then he looked closer. Dense rental areas, families without in-unit machines, people who still need large loads washed every single week. The pattern wasn't romance, it was necessity. People need clean clothes, they pay in small amounts, they come back without reminders. Harry found an aging laundromat just 15 minutes from his apartment. The owner was tired, the machines were old, the numbers were steady, the business looked invisible, and that's exactly why it worked. The asking price was just under $200,000. After expenses, the laundromat produced a little over $4,000 a month. Harry didn't have that kind of cash, so he did what boring business owners do. He structured the deal instead of dreaming. He scraped together a down payment, some savings, selling the hatchback, a small line of credit. The owner agreed to finance the rest, 7 years. Simple terms. In the first month, the numbers were underwhelming. After rent, utilities, supplies, and loan payments, Harry took home about $1,300. That was it. No fireworks, no freedom, just $1,300. But something important had changed. That money arrived without him working extra hours. By month 6, small adjustments started compounding. Card readers replaced coin-only machines. Prices went up slightly. A simple monthly family wash pass was introduced. Nothing dramatic, just tiny, boring improvements. Cash flow rose above $2,000 a month. Still boring, still quiet, but predictable. This is where most people would lose interest, because the brain wants excitement, not stability. But Harry was starting to see the pattern. While working on the laundromat, he noticed something else. The snack machine near the entrance was always emptying fast. Same products, same habits, same behavior. He realized the laundromat wasn't just a laundry business. It was a waiting room. So he bought a used vending machine from a retiring operator. Then another, then 2 more. Placed in a warehouse, an office lobby, a repair shop. Vending is painfully boring. You drive, you refill, you collect. That's exactly why it works. Within a year, the vending route was producing over $2,000 a month in profit. Now, Harry had two boring systems feeding each other. Laundry created foot traffic, vending monetized waiting. His job still paid the same, but his boring income now exceeded it. Then came the business that scared him most: self-storage. The numbers were larger, the commitment felt heavier, but the psychology behind it was simple. People don't like letting go of their stuff. Once boxers go into storage, they stay there, months, sometimes years. Harry partnered instead of buying outright. One partner had land and construction skills. Harry brought operations and cash flow. They built small 24 units. Within months, most were filled. People paid automatically, rarely canceled. By the time occupancy stabilized, Harry's share added another $1,500 a month. Now the pattern was undeniable. 3 different businesses, 3 different industries, same structure, small repeat payments, low emotional decisions, customers who returned without being chased. At this point, something clicked. It was never about laundromats or vending or storage. It was about the type of income. Most people chase money that requires constant persuasion, attention, excitement, newness. But boring businesses attached to habits needs inertia. That's why they survive, and that's why they quietly make millionaires. Before we finish the 6 businesses, you need to understand this, because without it, the list is meaningless. There is a psychological filter at work here, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. The 4th boring business was car washes, not the flashy tunnel ones on the highway. Simple local washes. The appeal wasn't branding, it was leverage. You invest once in equipment, water, soap, vacuums, then volume does the work. People don't overthink a $10 wash. They don't compare options, they come back when the car looks dirty. Harry studied listings instead of dreaming. Small 4-bay washes, steady revenue, minimal staff. What stood out wasn't just the cash flow, it was the land underneath. The business paid the bills. The land quietly appreciated. Same pattern again. Low drama decisions, repeat behavior, assets tied to cash flow. The 5th boring business showed up everywhere Harry looked. Pest control, pool cleaning, lawn care, different services, same structure. Customers sign up once, then forget about it. Routes repeat. Payments recur. Revenue becomes predictable. One technician, one truck, dozens of homes. No meetings, no selling every month, just quiet consistency. Then there was the 6th category, property management. Not luxury towers, not skyscrapers. Just being the bridge between landlords and tenants. Collecting rent, handling repairs, managing move-ins and move-outs. Work most landlords are happy to outsource. A single manager with 50 doors creates thousands in monthly fees. Scale that slightly, and the income becomes serious. At this point, Harry stopped counting business types, because the list wasn't the lesson. The pattern was, all 6 businesses passed the same invisible test. Customers paid regularly. Decisions were emotionally small, and the owner controlled the asset behind the cash flow. This is where most people get stuck. They ask, what business could go viral? They chase excitement. Harry started asking a different question. What boring business already works in my city and has an owner who wants out? That question changed everything. At 32, his net worth was close to 0. 6 years later, the picture looked very different. The laundromat was nearly paid off. A new valuation placed it far higher than the purchase price. His share of the storage facility had real equity. The vending route could be sold for a meaningful lump sum. There was no explosive year, no viral moment, just slow accumulation. This is why people call it luck, because they don't see the pattern, they see the result. They don't see the repetition, the boredom, the months where nothing exciting happened. And this is where the lesson turns personal. You don't need to copy Harry's exact businesses, you only need to copy the principle. Stop underestimating small, predictable cash flow. Stop chasing income that depends on attention. Ask yourself 3 questions. Do customers pay at least monthly without being chased? Is the decision emotionally simple? Can I eventually own or control the asset? If a business passes those filters, it's worth studying. And here's the uncomfortable part. Boring is not just a business filter, it's a personal one. Can you tolerate repetition? Can you operate without applause? Can you walk past your own machines, routes, or units week after week? Most people can't. That's why the pattern keeps working. Most people never fail because they choose the wrong business. They fail because they reject the pattern that works. They want progress to feel exciting. They want income to arrive with a story. But boring systems don't tell stories, they just pay. That's why they feel invisible. Harry didn't become wealthy because he was smarter. He became wealthy because he stopped chasing stimulation. At 38, his net worth quietly crossed $1 million. Not from one big win, but from stacking small, boring systems over time. People see the number. They don't see the years. They don't see the nights spent learning machines, routes, and software. They don't see the weeks where nothing changed. This is why the pattern survives, because most people quit when there's no excitement. Here's what this means for you. You don't need to leap into ownership tomorrow. You don't need a viral idea, you need awareness. Spend one quiet afternoon a week looking at real businesses in your area, not online fantasies. Physical or service businesses with history. Filter them ruthlessly. Do people pay regularly? Is the decision emotionally small? Is there an asset underneath the income? If yes, study it. Don't underestimate small cash flow. $1,300 a month didn't change Harry's life overnight. It changed his direction. Then he stacked another stream, then another. That's how boring becomes powerful. And here's the final truth most people avoid. Boring feels uncomfortable because it removes ego. There's nothing to brag about, nothing to post, nothing to explain. Just ownership. If you can tolerate that, you're already ahead. Because once you see this pattern, you'll notice it everywhere. In laundromats, people ignore. In routes, people dismiss. In services no one talks about. They look small. Until time does what time always does. The people who win quietly aren't lucky. They're patient. And patience is the most boring advantage of all.